everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Politics with Sherry Jacobus. If you're a subscriber, thank you. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. Help me out a little bit. So, this has been a really, really, really bad week for the actual physical health of Americans and our future health. I think that we're in bigger trouble than we were even in the pandemic. Remember, 1.2 million people did not survive the first Trump presidency. And I think that we are on track for at least something that tragic to happen to us again. The chief scientist of the CDC, Dr. Dimitri, resigned with a lengthy letter that he made public. And he made it very, very clear, that America girl, you're in danger. I mean, he cannot complete the mission. He's very clear that the Trump administration seems to actively be wanting Americans to get sick and to die. The stuff coming out of the mouth of RFK Jr. is alarming. This is somebody who is dangerously unqualified. That seems to be done on purpose. All right. Why would Donald Trump put this dangerous loon in charge of our health? So you have to start. You can't look at the things that Trump does in a vacuum as each thing is just some stupid decision. This is done on purpose. So the head of the CDC was fired by Trump this week, and then the lead scientist resigned. So the reason was that he was not in alignment with the values of the Trump administration. That is not the job of the CDC director. The job of the CDC director is to keep America safe and healthy, period. He's supposed to work for us. Well, actually, they all are. So, we have people in our government who have tried to push back on this whole anti-vax thing. They know that COVID is still out there. They know that simply not reporting on the numbers doesn't make it go away. Excuse me, but makes it worse. And we saw this in the pandemic. Okay. And it's getting to the point where you can't just write it off as Trump being a stupid idiot. This is being done intentionally. As I've said before, Trump bragged about the fact that during the pandemic, they had a savings of $156 billion in Social Security. Well, that's because the elderly were more vulnerable to dying of COVID. And many of them did. And when you're dead, you don't get your Social Security check. Okay? That is Trump's solution. Trump is cutting Medicaid so that the most vulnerable among us will die prematurely. He doesn't think that disabled children have a right to live. And we've known that since he cut the insurance off of his dead brother's sick grandson, who was a baby. I mean, the list goes on, and it's on and on and on. But this is being done on purpose. There is absolutely no way on God's green earth that even the stupidest of MAGA could believe that RFK Jr. is the best person to head Health and Human Services or even remotely qualified. In fact, he is objectively the worst that you could have. When you look at his personal history, I mean, I don't think he's all there. I think that brain worm that he had did some serious damage. But he was a longtime heroin user, okay? He's got some really wild ideas about things. He's sick himself physically, even though he acts like he tries to be healthy. He has these wild conspiracies about health that he wants to push them on all of us. Remember, he was swimming in contaminated Rock Creek Park waters a few months ago. There are signs up there that when the water is bad, I mean, it's beautiful there. I go hiking and walking there a lot. I'll probably be there today. But the water isn't always safe. They put signs up saying, don't let your dog drink this water. Your dog. They don't want people, the dogs will go in and swim in the creek and then they'll drink the water. And I don't think they're saying don't do that. If it's too dangerous for dogs, pretty sure it's too dangerous for children. Yet this dangerous loon, RFK Jr., is out there pushing this stuff. He appears to be a tool for Trump to try and get the most vulnerable among us to be unalived. And I still think that this is all part of how the Putin training for Trump. It's all part of their, well, it's how Hitler was too. This is they want this white, I guess, super, what they consider to be super healthy race. And black and brown and sick people be damned. This is happening, and you know it. All the dots connect. They don't even try and hide it that much. So RFK Jr. to me is the most. I mean, it's hard to say. Oh, can you pick one cabinet member out? They all are bad, as we know, and they're all there for various reasons. They certainly are not the best that we can get. They are designed to implement some other, I think, secret nefarious agenda. Pete Hegseth, come on. So, but RFK Jr. in general, or specifically rather, is an immediate threat. Okay, so how do we change that? I still look at the evidence that while MAGA, they're always, as long as it's happening to somebody else, we support this cruelty to black and brown people or to immigrants. And we love alligator Alcatraz, but a federal judge has now ordered closed. Will Trump close it? We don't know. He likes to defy the court orders on a regular basis. But when it affects them, when it starts affecting MAGA, that's when they care. It takes a special kind of evil to be a MAGA in the first place. But they specifically, not only do they not care that these draconian policies of Trump's hurt and harm and kill other people, some of them actually like it. That has a lot to do with why they voted for Trump. They share that cruelty. But when it comes to them, to hurt them, that's when they change their minds. When they have to pay higher gas prices, they have to pay higher food prices, when their Medicaid is cut off, when they get deported or a loved one gets deported. What about when one of their children or the children of someone they know is slaughtered in a school shooting? Does that matter then? Do they end their love affair with guns in this country over that? Clearly MAGA doesn't. They offer prayers. And then when we criticize them for the prayers, they go, well, you're against prayer. It's like, no, we're against you using this. We pray. What I pray for is that you people get out of power so we can save lives. We have dead kids because of these people. They are ghouls. And it is time that we accept this, that part of the overall agenda for Trump and MAGA and Putin, combined with Project 2025, where Trump is the vehicle. Trump doesn't believe in it. It doesn't have any core beliefs, but he'll go with whoever gets him into office. Death is a big part of it. Death of the right people, and then the other right people survive. This is a MAGA culture of death. And now RFK Jr. is in the center of it. His own family very publicly said, don't play games with this guy. Don't bring him on. Don't support him. And also, he's not one of us. They tried to warn people about him. Taking a dead bear cub and dumping it in Central Park. I mean, this is just, what else did he do? There was something else about a dead animal that he put on the roof of his car. I mean, he has a problem. I mean, he clearly needs mental help, but he is dangerous. This guy, even when he's not the Secretary of Health and Human Services, is somebody who is a danger, who is not well, where an intervention is needed. So the fact that Trump put this dangerous individual in this position was done intentionally because he knew that this loon, this dangerous loon, was going to start implementing these policies on behalf of Trump that would lead to the death of the most vulnerable among us. And that is part of the overall Trump agenda. Look, it is when you connect the dots. He did it during the pandemic. Remember, we found out from Bob Woodward's book that Trump knew how bad this was going to be, but he lied to us. And then he had his then goon, is one of his flying monkeys, Michael Caputo, over at HHS, ordering CDC. They're going to start jimmying around and lying about the COVID numbers. And now they want to take the COVID vaccine away from us. They want people to die. They want people to die. If you are not their perfect, I guess, sample of womanhood, they want you to die. I guess the Carolyn Levitt person behind the lectern would be it. And there's something wrong with her too. You got to check some of these people out. When you learn just a little bit about them, you scratch the surface a little bit, it's kind of scary. They're not mainstream. They're not normal. They're not healthy. They're not honest. They have some serious ticks to them. And I'm not talking about quirky, cute little, eccentric people. It goes a lot deeper than that. So with regard to RFK Jr., he's a big danger. A big danger. So there is legitimate hardcore pressure to push him aside, but I don't think that it's going to work. But I do think that this is something that's going to be very impactful for Republican senators running for re-election who voted to confirm this monster when all the evidence was there that he was this dangerous. And as I often say, close elections are won and lost in the margins. There will be that sliver of MAGA. It won't be overwhelming. It won't be as big a number as it should be, but a sliver of MAGA who are going to suffer or have someone die because of RFK Jr. policies, which are Trump policies. And then they will turn against Trump and MAGA and against Republicans. So, that's what we have to do, is chip away those little slivers. But this is serious. This is, gosh, I hate to say it's the most terrifying thing so far about the Trump administration, but the CDC is basically dead. We have no protections. We are walking around not knowing what's out there, what we're vulnerable to, what could kill us. We're hearing anecdotally that COVID is now on the uptick again, and we have winter coming, so it's going to get worse. But no one's going to tell us. We're not going to be able to get our vaccinations, our boosters. This is their way of culling the herd. This is what they're doing. And I don't have an answer other than the fact that we should be screaming it from the top of our lungs so that when MAGA gets hit with a catastrophe created by Trump and RFK Jr., they know to hold them accountable. Sadly, that might be one of the only ways we get out of this mess in our country. Education, information, I guess it's power, huh?